taxes was taxing. Now taxes is relaxing when you file for free.
I can file for free? TurboTax Free Edition. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns only. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. I can file for free.
Now this is taxes. File for free with TurboTax Free Edition and get your maximum refund. No schedules except for Earned Income Tax Credit, Child Tax Credit, and Student Loan Interest. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free.
If you love hurricanes, daiquiris, and, well, any rum cocktail, listen up. Captain Morgan's about to shake things up like never before. We're talking Bourbon Street, New Orleans, home to legendary drinks and unforgettable moments. But what if we told you the most iconic cocktails here have one thing in common? Hint, it's not bourbon. That's right, it's rum. And Captain Morgan is bringing unforgettable fun to Bourbon Street in a way you won't want to miss. Get ready for something big as we gear up for Super Bowl 59. Make sure to keep your eyes on NOLA's most iconic street. Who knows, Bourbon Street might just need a new name. Stay tuned for clues and get ready for the most legendary adventure yet. Please drink responsibly. Captain Morgan Original Spice Rum, 35% alcohol by volume. Captain Morgan Rum Company, New York, New York.
This is a More Than Just Podcast production.
Welcome to Spockie Season 7, Episode 19. My name is Tim Mitra. I am in Toronto, Ontario, and I'm joined by Jonathan Kuline in Jacksontown, New Brunswick.
Hello there, kids.
We also have Jaime Lopez Jr. on the line in Seattle, Washington.
How's it going?
We're not at war yet. Not at war yet. It's funny because I heard somebody on the radio today who was talking about their family. I just, woke up, turned on the radio, and they were saying, or, tuned in the radio, I guess is what you do these days. And they said, our family members in Detroit were asking us, since we're at war, we can't, whatever. So,
do Americans think that trade wars are fought with guns?
Yeah, we're going to represent the entire 30 million people and tell us?
We're letting our representative, Kendrick Lamar, fight this for us. It's going to be Robot Jock style, where, whoever has the better halftime performance at the big game.
Oh, damn. Does that mean that Drake is responsible for our defense? Because I don't feel good.
Must be present to win.
Yeah.
So, irrespective of football, everything I ever learned about life and business I learned playing hockey. And a year ago, there was a lady singing the American national anthem at the Toronto Maple Leaf game, and the PA cut out, and the entire audience finished the song for her.
Yep. This
weekend, when there was hockey games on and the American national anthem came on, we were booing the national anthem.
Yeah. It's a sad and frustrating thing, because I genuinely don't think we have ill feelings towards America or Americans. We really
have long memories, though, don't forget.
We just really don't like that guy and his people. And it's hard to protest because we're not good at it.
So somebody pointed out that, he doesn't realize this. Of course, he'll never realize this, but you don't know how badly you screwed up when you get Quebecois people saying they're happy to be Canadians.
Yeah. Now, what's next, Alberta?
We don't know about Alberta. I figure we'll sever Alberta and just sever Alberta.
Hey, we'll trade you Alberta straight up for Washington State, Oregon, and California.
Yeah, or even just Washington State and Oregon. Yeah. I
mean, California's economy would be nice to have.
And the
weather's nice. I could do without the earthquakes.
I don't like the way they vote. They always vote Democratic. I don't know.
Yeah. I saw a great rebuttal. I don't want to get too far into politics, but I saw a great rebuttal in the Guardian last week, where they were talking about how badly it would backfire if Canada became the 51st state, because they'd immediately have to give us senators and proportional representation in Congress, and it would immediately dethrone the Republicans. It's very funny.
Why is that?
Because what's the number, Jaime? How many people per congressperson in America?
So senators are per state. So every state, regardless of size, the smallest one and the largest one get 2 each.
Yeah.
It's the House of Representatives that's proportional. And I don't know. They base it on the census.
Yeah. Even if it was per 500,000 people. There's 40 million of us, so all of a sudden they would have to give us 80 seats in Congress. Well,
it would be the largest state because it would be larger than California.
Yeah. So that would be interesting because all of a sudden, even if you factored out places like Alberta, you would still have a majority of, well, by American standards, far left, but by, the rest of the world standards, pretty edge of center left. And yeah, all of a sudden the House of Representatives would flip, the Senate would flip, and the voting base would add like 20 million left-leaning voters.
According to Wikipedia, California has 52 representatives, so you'd figure around 52 to 55.
Yeah. Hope you're enjoying the after show, folks.
52 to 55, roughly, is what I would guess.
Yeah. So I think this is a case of careful what you wish for, Americans in red states.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, the question I begs for me is, like, would we be one giant state or would we be 10 states? Or would Toronto be like Toronto, DC, right?
Yeah.
The Dominion of Toronto or something.
I mean, isn't it already?
Well, yeah. Said the outsider to the person in Toronto.
That's right.
Okay,
so I'm a proud New Brunswicker now.
Moving on to fact check. Keen has basically contributed to that the show we watched last year where the AI generated brouhaha was Secret Invasion.
Yes.
Although I've seen a few that I wonder if, well, no, I guess they're not. Like, they're too good to be AI generated at this point. Some of the shows I'm watching. So
yeah, I think there's a reason why we didn't remember. It's that Secret Invasion was awful.
But yeah, you're right. I had sort of blanked that from my memory. All right, let's move on to the headlines. I have one here, a quick one here, and this is a Severance reference. You can read Rickon, who is Mark S's brother-in-law, who wrote a book on Severance called "The You Are," and it's it's part of the story, and that's the book that they read, or Mark S reads at the Mark S reads, and they start their little rebellion thingy. But you can, it's actually on, I guess, an audiobook, whatever, and it's read by the actor in character.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that's kind of a cool thing. So if you're interested in the You Are from Severance, you can download that as an audiobook. And we'll head over to Jonathan for some somewhat exciting news.
Yeah, well, we got a couple trailers this week, and Jaime's going to tell you about one in a minute, but I'm going to start with the Fantastic Four teaser trailer that we got earlier this week. This was our first kind of in-depth look at this. We had gotten some teaser images, and obviously we knew the cast and everything, but this was the first kind of real look at what we're dealing with. And I think your mileage may vary, but I thought it looked really interesting. It's kind of got that 1960s neo-futuristic vibe going on. It's got some pretty neat characters, including our first look at the Evan Moss Bacharach's version of The Thing, and we've got our look at Herbie, the flying robot, which for old-time comics fans / cartoons fans is a real treat. It looks pretty neat. What did you guys think of this first trailer?
Yeah, I thought it looked pretty good. I mean, it's got a vibe. It feels very, retro futurism. It appears as if they're not doing an origin story. It seems like origin is like in flashbacks, but they're already, just normal family, and this is what we do as a Fantastic Four superhero family. So I appreciate that they've got that, and the glimpse of Galactus is a nice tease.
Yeah, that and Galactus, really Galactus, not Galactus from the other Fantastic Four movie, which was, I can't remember, a collection
like
of
nebula,
bugs or
blob or something.
Yeah,
an amorphous being. This one is like, no, from the shadows type stuff we see, or behind the scene, behind the person thing. It looks like a more gritty, realistic take on the dude with the wonky helmet.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty good for me. There was one scene where who's the girl who plays Sue Storm?
Vanessa Kirby.
Yeah, Vanessa Kirby. There's one scene where she was walking where it seemed like a weird CGI kind of, AI generated walk. I just found it odd, but otherwise it looks pretty good. And this is one of the comic books I used to read when I was a kid. I didn't really get into the sort of nuts and bolts of it, but I was drawn towards the Fantastic Four back in the day, right? So although I never did question the Thing and how the Thing got to be the Thing and why that makes sense, it did look a little CGI-ish. I know it's an actor in a motion capture suit, but it did look a little sort of unrealistic. I like the Thing that the last Thing was played by the dude from the who's the actor who played the Thing in the last bunch of movies.
Oh, it was the guy from The Wire, right? Not The Wire, from the
TV show, yeah.
TV show.
Yeah, it was a cop show, yeah.
Yeah. Here, I'll have it right here. It is Michael Chiklis.
Chiklis, yeah. His thing was a little. I mean, I'm basing this on like what a 2-minute look at or 2-second look at in a trailer, right? So. Yeah,
it's funny because in the trailer he's wearing a uniform that goes right up to his neck, and I saw a couple of people calling out, well, isn't that convenient? You don't have to show his whole body. And this better not be how we see him through the whole movie. We want to see him, his whole Rocky form. I suspect that's just for the trailer. You don't want to get, they really didn't get into a lot of action-y stuff. This was really kind of setting the stage of, it's a family and they're sort of revered celebrities. And it didn't really get too much into the pew-pews. And I have no doubt there'll be lots of pew-pews to come. All right, next trailer, Jurassic World Rebirth. As I said in our Slack channel, who asked for this? Jaime, your response was?
Shareholders.
Shareholders wanted this.
Universal Pictures shareholders.
Clamoring. Yeah. Which I thought was an excellent response. It should just be called Give Us Your Money, Damn It. It just is so lacking in substance. It's like, what if there were even weirder dinosaurs and they were even on a scarier island?
On another island that nobody knows about. Yeah.
And what if this time Scarlett Johansson was the badass? Okay. Yeah. Maybe on a Saturday while I'm doing laundry a la Paw Patrol? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. These are, and it's interesting that this trailer sort of struck me as a horror version of Jurassic World. Not so much, because I'm thinking this trailer doesn't say to me, take my 6-year-old kid to see the dinosaur movie,
unless your kid's very emotionally stable.
You know what I mean? But the tone of it was almost like those remakes that people do of trailers where they take Winnie the Pooh or The Simpsons or whatever and turn it into a horror trailer. It felt like that halfway through. I'm like, this doesn't feel like a nice happy-go-lucky, and not that Jurassic Park is happy-go-lucky, but, I never felt threatened by Jurassic World, or Jurassic anything, they're cool, they're giant, they're big. The people trying to get away from, I guess the first movie was pretty cool with the raptor chasing the girl in the kitchen, but... and they kind of just, I guess they just
it really went downhill after the first one. I get what they were trying to do, but really for me, it really dropped off after that.
Yeah. Well, I think it was one book that he wrote, right? It wasn't like he wrote 10 books, right?
I think he wrote 2. I think he wrote The Lost World as well.
Okay, yeah. And that was supposed to be the origin story of the animals at the park, right? Sort of, this is where they did the test bed in The Lost World, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. You remember those shows back in the day when on Saturday morning where someone would fall through a hole in the earth and they would end up underneath the earth and
Land of the Lost.
Yeah, and they would end up with there was a couple of different versions. Was that the animated cartoon Land of the Lost?
No, Land of the Lost was the one that was like the Ray Harryhausen stuff.
Yeah, I know there was an animated one I'm thinking I want to say early 70s. But it just sort of seemed to be a thing that, if you ever so don't ever go and fall, don't go spelunking, in other words, because you'll end up in a prehistoric world and it won't be good for you.
Yeah. And also the moral of this one is if somebody offers you a lot of money to go to an island filled with terrifying dinosaurs, no matter how good the reason is or how good the money is, say no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unless Scarlett Johansson's going with you with a, kick-ass gun and stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate what they're doing there. At least they're trying to flip the script and not have it just be like heroic man protects, female scientists. It's heroic woman protects nerdy man from Monsters?
I don't know.
I don't know.
The one thing about Jurassic Park in the stories, notwithstanding Jurassic World, but it's always like there's an intelligent woman on the screen, right? Like that's the one thing I'll say about it, right? Like even the kid that, hey, I know Unix, and it's clearly not Unix for those of us who know what Unix is.
Yeah.
The one thing that I really don't like that they've focused on in a lot of the Jurassic Park movies is, look, in the first film, it made sense that there were kids there because, that was Grandpa's theme park, right? And he was like, oh, it's going to be totally safe. And like, he was a little off his rocker. So it kind of makes sense that they brought children around when they should not have brought children around, but it made sense there, right? It's really stretched in the Lost World film where it's like, oh, Ian and Malcolm's daughter stowed away. I'm like, oh, okay. And then the third film was like, all right, I'll give it a pass for, like, I think there was like a shipwreck or a plane crash or something, and they landed on the island, and these rich people are going to go get their kid. All right, cool. I'm like, that's it right there. Unless they tell me that they're going to pull a Game of Thrones on the kid that we see in the trailer, I'm like, there's no stakes. There's no stakes. Like, oh, is a dinosaur going to eat this child? Like, probably not. But if you do, I'm like, okay, now you've got my attention. Now everything has stakes. Maybe Scarlett Johansson was that shit. They just had a T-Rex eat this one kid like a chicken McNugget. Like, yeah, okay, I'm invested again.
That's an excellent point, Jaime. I think, we talk about the lack of stakes in so many of these shows, especially when they do prequels. This one's at least a sequel, but the prequel problem we talk about all the time is that, they can't kill the major characters that live on, so what are the stakes? In this case, like, wouldn't it be great if they pulled like the Joss Whedon from Serenity kind of move where like they just kill like a major character or somebody like, like Ian Malcolm is murdered by a velociraptor in the first scene. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Come on, Jurassic franchise, surprise us. Do something else.
Theory. Chaos theory.
I know the common thing is like, well, the kids want to have somebody that they can imagine themselves up. I'm like, well, hold on. Like, you haven't watched kids play. They frequently love pretending to be adult characters. And two, this is a movie with dinosaurs in it. Like, if you want them to buy stuff, trust me, they're definitely going to buy stuff based on this movie. Like, you're golden. You don't need to, you should just stop selling once you've made the sale.
Hey, kids, do you like dinosaurs? Yes. Okay, good. We're done. All right. Interesting next one. So, big movie coming out this summer is Superman, the first sort of major push of the James Gunn-led DC Comics cinematic universe. However, it may not be coming out everywhere if the family of one of the creators has something to say about it. So, the estate of Superman co-creator and Canadian Joe Shuster is suing Warner Brothers and DC Comics, saying that they do not have the rights anymore to Superman in a lot of places. So the suit says that they are infringing copyright in Canada, the United Kingdom, Ireland, and Australia, which are several key markets for movie releases. And they say that the problem is that the rights to Superman in those jurisdictions should have reverted back to Joe Shuster and his co-creator Jerry Siegel years ago, and that DC and Warner Brothers are holding on to those rights illegally. So by law, theoretically, they're right. So foreign copyrights revert back to the estate of the creator and not the holder 25 years after the death of the creator. Joe died in 1982, Jerry died in 1996, and so they are correct that under that interpretation of the law that there is no rights held by DC Warner Brothers in those markets. In the United States, they continue to hold the rule because the laws are a little bit different. But any way you slice it, this could be a real mess because they are going to have to find a way to make nicey nice with the family. The families, these creators who worked on these classic characters in the 1930s. Famously, Superman was sold for, I think it was $200. $130, sorry, $65 each was what they sold the rights to Superman to DC for back in the 1930s, because the company didn't want to publish a character that didn't own the rights to. So they got $65. Now, that's not nothing in 1938, especially, at the tail end of the Great Depression. However, it's certainly not what they've made off of that character over the course of time, and they never really treated Jerry and Joe with much dignity and respect as far as their contribution to creating and establishing this amazing institution that is Superman. So all that to say, I think this is going to be a very interesting one to see what happens, because it could even just set the precedent of them getting a settlement or something else, which would be great, because there are a lot of other comic creators' families who would certainly appreciate it if they would start recognizing the contributions of those creators and also breaking off some money that these massive corporations are making off of their family's legacies. So next up, this one has got me a little bit excited. So a little. I'm not getting my hopes up yet. So the story is that Sarah Michelle Gellar is apparently set to revive her role as Buffy Summers in a reboot of Buffy the Vampire Slayer with Chloe Zhao directing. So I'm gonna say that I'm trying not to get too excited. I am a long time Buffy fan. I really like the Buffyverse. Like a lot of fans, I was pretty heartbroken and very disgusted when all the allegations against Joss Whedon came out about his treatment of people that he works with, and particularly women. And to me, it felt like that was, the nail in the coffin for, well, I guess we'll just have to reflect on the good old days, because it doesn't seem like there's going to be more. However, as much as Joss is responsible for the stories of Buffy and a lot of the stuff that happened back in the early 2000s, he is not the license holder. And so other people can take a swing at it. And so Sarah said on her social media that she wasn't really interested in doing it, but she decided to take a meeting with Chloe Zhao to talk to her about it and see if there was a fit. And apparently they have explored it, and now they are very close to a deal to sign to do a project at Hulu. So, yay!
Yeah.
Jaime, I don't know if we talked about this. Are you a Buffy Angel fan?
I watched, but I didn't watch in any serious fashion. I wasn't there week after week. It was more like, oh, look, it's on, I'll watch sort of thing. So I was kind of on the outside edge of this fandom. Yeah. I feel like it was very similar to my fandom of the X-Files. Again, it was a very popular show. I would watch here and there, but didn't watch in any serious way. So some of the story arcs kind of go over my head a bit, but I feel like they did a pretty good job of seemingly continuing story arcs, but having some, monster of the week or like, oh, okay, I get the gist of what's happening here. This guy hates this other guy kind of thing, where it was serialized, but it didn't seem like it was like, oh man, did you miss episode 7? Well, 8's not going to make any sense. It's not that intense, because it was still broadcast television. So I appreciated that. And I certainly did enjoy the style that it had. I mean, we're talking and dancing around a lot of the bad stuff that has come out, but there's a big reason that people were looking forward to the Avengers, right? And having that come together. I'm like, hey, let's see what happens here. We enjoyed this material. What can this person do? Yeah. What more innocent days we had back then.
Yeah. I mean, for those who don't know all the dots, Joss Whedon, who was the sort of brain child of the Buffy as we know it TV show and the spin-off Angel, also went on to do Firefly and the Serenity movie, and was Dollhouse, and was beloved enough that he ended up becoming the director for the first major Marvel movie team up, which was the Avengers, and then Avengers 2, or Avengers Age of Ultron. He was a big, huge deal for a while there, and then his fall from grace was pretty precipitous. And like I say, I think a lot of us were worried he was going to take Buffy with him when he went down. So, good news. Put this in the hands of women. Good call.
Yeah. Well, was the movie Buffy, was it the first Buffy, the one with
Christy Swanson?
That weird person. Yeah, was it Christy Swanson?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking the other. So where does that one fit into the sort of pantheon? Was it Buffy a character before Joss Whedon made the show?
So the movie version exists outside of the show, different actors and everything else, but it is kind of referenced in the early parts. They mentioned that, Buffy, burned down a gym at her old school, and that's a tie back to the movie and stuff. So they kind of acknowledge it without actually going back into it. They don't really circle back on it very much. They kind of just sort of say, yes, that stuff happened. It was a different actor. Let's move on. But my favorite part of this story is that one of the executive producers of this project is Dolly Parton, because Dolly apparently financed the original movie. And so she continues to be part of the brain trust around Buffy and owns some of the rights, which is awesome. All right. Well, speaking of cancellations due to bad behavior, Netflix is canceling The Sandman in the wake of the Neil Gaiman allegations. So we've talked about that the last few episodes of this podcast, that there are these very, very upsetting allegations of sexual harassment and other issues against the creator of Sandman and once beloved New York Times bestselling author Neil Gaiman. And Netflix had been doing an adaptation, a long-anticipated, long-stewing, much heralded adaptation of the Sandman comic book that debuted in the late 1980s. And they did the first season, which ostensibly covers the first 15-ish issues of the series, and that 50, probably almost 20 issues of the first series. And they definitely seemed like they were going to adapt the whole thing. They had already finished season 2, which looked like it was going to basically be the second major arc, the next, 8-10 issues of the book. But they've announced that this is it. They're going to tell this one last story and then conclude this story. So we are not going to get a television adaptation of The Sandman in any proper way. It is basically crumbling around us. And I'm sure the second season will be good. There are a lot of very talented people working on it. The first season was quite good, I thought. It's extremely disappointing that once again, fans are paying the price for the bad behavior of creators. And it's really sad. It's sad for all the people that worked so hard to make this show come to life. It's sad for the fans who have, obviously now very conflicted feelings about this project. But it's just yet another one of those opportunities for us to use the mantra of Spockcast, which is, once again, gentlemen, keep it in your pants.
Keep it in your pants.
Yeah, the headlines here always confuse me. I'm not a fan of people saying this thing is canceled, and I assume that means there is no more content coming out. But actually, it's like no, it's canceled as soon as this second season of content comes out. That's a very confusing sort of thing.
Yeah, it's not like because again, they've already spent all the money, and to an extent, they're trying to mitigate for the people who don't necessarily have issues with watching a show irrespective of creators or whatever. They are going to put it out there and let people do it, and in typical Netflix fashion, it'll just be the whole thing. And here's everything, we're done. But yeah, it's just bad. It's just a bad thing that I don't even know how to feel about this. The second arc of Sandman is one of my favorite stories I've ever read. It's so beautifully told. There's no disputing that Neil is an extremely talented and creative writer. He's just also other things that are really, 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 really unpleasant. I was looking forward to this immensely. It was one of the things that I was most excited about this year as far as television programs, and now I don't even know if I'll watch it because I just feel very icky about the whole thing.
All right, Hami, you're up.
Yeah, this is going to be really hard or difficult to parse. So Cobra Kai season 6 was split into 3 parts. So I believe there's 15 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. in total planned. So the first 10 episodes are already out. You can watch them to your heart's content. If you're like me, who was on an airplane and said, "What? How did this end right here in episode 10?" Like, this is insane. It's like, oh, because there's a third part coming out on February 13th. So the final part of season 6 is coming out, and that should get us up to speed completely with what's presumably going to go on during the Karate Kid Legends movie coming out later in the summer.
So what did you think of the trailer, and do you think that this is going to be, again, leaving you on a bit of a cliffhanger? Because it is, as you say, setting up a movie.
I think it will wrap up the doing karate stuff and then move over into Kung Fu land, is I think the joke that people had on the interwebs, because if folks are not up to speed, at some point, Daniel LaRusso, the Karate Kid from the movies, now an adult, married adult with kids and stuff, he promised his wife that this one last tournament would happen here in season 6, and then they'll quit with karate, because karate's been kind of ruining their lives for the past 6 seasons. And people joked on the internet, like, wait a minute, what's he doing with Jackie Chan, Mr. Han? It's like, that's Kung Fu. That's a loophole right there. He didn't say nothing about Kung Fu, Jiu-Jitsu, Krav Maga, pick them. Aikido, Kendo, just keep picking out, like Capoeira, you can continue on this forever if they wanted to, and he'd technically still not be lying to his wife.
That's a great dude loophole he's found there.
But yeah, I mean, the trailer, at this point, 6 seasons in, if you liked Cobra Kai, I think you should finish it up. If you didn't, I'm not going to try to convince you to watch. It's more of an awareness thing. But if you're interested in the movie, presumably there will be some sort of carryover. I anticipate the movie not needing you to, strictly speaking, have watched this show, because that's a lot to ask. And for the mainstream sort of viewer, they're going to remember, oh yeah, Karate Kid. They may have seen the other Karate Kid with Jackie Chan and stuff. And so they'll need to more or less get what's going on when they bring them together. But I think you might enjoy Easter eggs or callbacks or something that are, extra flavor and nuance, not necessarily like, oh, I'm totally confused sort of thing, if you didn't watch this show.
Cool. All right, well, that brings us to the part of the show where we talk about something Star Trek related, hopefully. And this time we have a couple of episodes of Star Trek Prodigy, which we're doing our watch, and Jaime's doing a rewatch of, and then we'll move on to some exciting elevator music show later. But so this time we're talking about episodes 7 and 8, The Fast and the Curious, and the second episode 8 is There Is Beauty, No Truth? Is there in Beauty No Truth? Okay, but let's talk about The Fast and the Curious, which, gee, I wonder where they get that name from.
Yeah, so this one was the Infinity, which the crew, formerly the crew of the Protostar, have now stolen the Infinity and are borrowed, and are going to try and go and find Captain Chakotay. However, they decide to take a shortcut. What could go wrong? And go through a Borg conduit, and of course this sucks them to a planet where they are basically grabbed up by this supposed Kazon clan that are testing the might of their pilots against people who come in, and so they have these death races. So yeah, so it's Fast and the Furious. So it's basically it's a car race. It's every stereotype of space race.
It's a pod race.
It pretty much is. Yeah. It's basically all those. We always joke about Star Trek. This is what it's like to do a pod race. This is and where it really gets Star Trekky is that there's a twist. Of course, there's a twist, and the twist is that there's actually the Kazon aren't in charge. It's actually an evil robot computer.
Yes, an evil computer.
Because that's what they do, those evil computers.
Landru, yes.
That's right, yes. So, yeah. I mean, it was fun. I didn't like it as much as last week's duo, this one, just because it was a little bit rote. It kind of just felt like you knew every beat you were going to hit along the way, and we did.
Yeah.
But
It's a filler. This is a filler episode.
Well, it's such a sidetrack, right? Like, it really was, hey, we're on our way to go save Captain Chakotay, and we suddenly got pulled over here for this other adventure for a whole episode. Like, it just, wasn't really on target, but it was also, I think if you like this kind of, action racy kind of story, then it might have been better for you. I don't know. Jaime, what'd you think?
Yeah, I think as folks need to recall, the sort of duality of a lot of these episodes are going to be there's an overarching post-Voyager, where are they now, what's going on with like Janeway and Chakotay and other folks, for the adults who presumably grew up with Voyager and now have children of their own. And the other half of that duality is baby's first Star Trek sort of thing, right? This is something that families can watch together. So this was 100%. I wrote the same thing that you guys already talked about, of like, this is the trope of, that kids need to be introduced to the, first evil computer control society trope. And guess what? There's another one coming up in the next episode that we'll talk about that trope, because it's very easy to identify as well. So it's on a grading scale, right? Like, if this was new Trek that was, largely aimed at adults, certainly a lot of it is family friendly, but if it was largely aimed at adults, like Discovery or Strange New Worlds or Picard or something, I'd be grading it a lot harder on that. The pod racing thing was like, kind of the filler element of this, of trying to move things along on the story. But I can see why kids need to see this, because you got to teach them young, the evil computer control society trope is a thing they will encounter.
And especially when they get around to Lower Decks, when they mock it mercilessly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's sort of from a kid's perspective, it's kind of like the world is bigger than just your mom and your dad kind of thing. I guess maybe that's the world lesson there, that, there are forces beyond your teacher, your mom, your dad kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
Your hockey coach, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. And it's, playing, like, as you said, to that, the fans that like the Fast and Furious franchise, right? So,
and I guess the consequence of this episode is that Zero sacrifices their robotic exoskeleton in order to save the day, and then is basically like a bodiless head for a little while, which I guess sets up the next episode.
Well, with the broken visor as well, like, so, yeah, and they try, Jankum tries to give them some sort of like maneuverability, but they end up just strapping them into the seat there, right? And then we move on to the next one, which is the trope of there's always some amazing new capability, given to one of the characters.
But it's at a price.
But there's always a price, and the price is always way beyond what you're prepared to pay or willing to pay, right? So,
yeah. Like, at a certain point, it really does, like, I mean, again, we have been joking about it for a couple of years now, but, like, they really are spoon-feeding Star Trek to young people. Like, this episode was, like, so many Star Trek tropes.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is like, what is she? She's a Medusa, right? Yeah. Or they're a Medusa. Yeah, trying to explain, the reason why the original series had a lot of ephemeral villains because they didn't have the budget to have, like, guys running around in rubber suits, right? So they would have, like, a video effect would be like the big, nemesis, or unfortunately we're seeing all the remastered, special effects the original series is, but back then it was like, they would flip the film negative positive to show that there's some sort of matter antimatter conflict going on. Or, like, I'm thinking of there's one character that is fighting himself in the reverse world, which is the first sort of time we ever saw a multiverse kind of idea, right? But and it was like they're negative, we're positive kind of thing. But in this one, the Medusan doesn't have, they're non-corporeal. They have no body. They have no no arms, no legs, whatever. And you know, and you see a scene there where they're wearing the visors because you can't look upon a Medusa and not go blind or mad.
Yeah, because that's what they did at the end of the first season, right?
Yeah, and then so that's why Zero's in a suit, and that's why Zero's suit has arms and legs, obviously, to be bipedal and convenient for the rest of the people in the show, and you know, traveling around on starships and stuff, which surprisingly have gravity no matter where they are. But yeah, so the story here is that they land on a planet or a world where there are other Medusans and other non-corporeal entities who are given a corporeal body, like an artificial, like a golem almost, I guess, right? And the idea is that once they have the ability to have senses, you know, they'll never want to give that up. And it's kind of funny because that's the sort of the original series had a lot of the American way kind of was the thing. Once you discover the American way, you'll never want to change anything else, right? Notwithstanding current standards of the American way, but which isn't true in a lot of cases. And they've discovered that in the story that Zero values her friendship with her crewmates more than having a corporeal body or even having senses, right? So, like, we think senses are great because that's how we communicate with the world. We, you know, take things in, we listen, we hear, we taste, we smell, we see, right? But, you know, that's also our prison, right? Because maybe there are other ways to experience life. That's my soapbox.
Yeah, and this is a title that is difficult. It's easy to stumble on. So this title is There in Beauty No Truth? Which is probably a brilliant, you know, recombination of Is There in Truth No Beauty from TOS, which also had a Medusan.
Oh, did it? Oh.
Yeah. It's like
that's the
Spock,
one with
Spock goes nuts because he accidentally looks at the Medusan.
Yeah. Miranda, that actress that was in like all the original series.
Yeah, so it's you know, so kudos to them there. You know, I think you all hit on a slightly different take on the trope. I wrote the trope down as utopian society has a terrible secret downside that kids need to learn. Kind of like the utopian, like, you know, like practically a sex planet kind of thing that Wesley like accidentally steps on the grass or something. There, oh, you got to die. It's the only way we can have such beauty and peace, is we just have to be exceptionally dark when it comes to crime and punishment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The big question I had on this one that may be non-obvious to folks. So the other side of this, and actually we didn't mention maybe the most important thing that actually occurred in the filler episode right before, and that was the fact that these tentacles came out of nowhere and tried to attack what was believed to be Gwyn, but was actually the Gwyn hologram, right? So Janeway and crew eventually figure out here that the kids were hologram fakes, and they end up talking to the reactivating the Gwyn one to see like what happened here. Our sensors have a blank. So the doctor, right, the emergency medical hologram, is faking holo kids like wearing blackface. Is that an offensive thing to him? That's what I was wondering through the whole thing.
Can you say that again?
So the kids used holograms to fake being alive, and even the doctor was convinced that they were alive. And so, you know, is it offensive to him in some way? Is that like hollow face, like the equivalent of blackface? Is it offensive?
Hollow face
racially to the doctor?
It's cultural appropriation, misappropriation. Yeah,
I love the term hollow face. That's excellent. Yeah, I mean, he is an advocate for, you know, holographic rights, so...
Yeah, exactly.
But then I also think it's kind of weird that, like, you know, the holo version of Gwyn is freaking out, and they're like, well, what's our solution? Turn her off.
Yeah. Not back her up or store her and you know, just get rid of her, yeah. I don't know, because that's the thing, is that's an interesting point, because they didn't cover those two things. One is that, you know, there are a lot of holographic doctors and mechanics and whatever in the new Star Trek universe because of Picard, right? The Picard episode had several iterations of holographic people, and there's the whole line in the Next Generation with Moriarty, right? And how Picard decides that he is sentient, right, and deserves to be, backed up to tape somewhere or whatever, or given a holographic simulation that doesn't shut down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they I guess that's too advanced a concept for the little 8-year-old.
I was going to say, I think you just broke a bunch of children's minds, Tim. Good job.
I probably broke a few adults too while I was at it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's interesting. So yeah, and so the big question for me coming from this episode is, okay, so what's going to happen to Zero's body now? Like, they're saying there's no warranty now. You're going to drive it off the lot, and if you get in an accident, there's going to be no shop to go get it fixed, and or does Zero go back for continuity? Does Zero go back into some sort of exosuit, right?
Yeah,
so.
I think in the same way we saw Murph kind of evolve from its original form, their original form, I guess maybe that's the same thing. Is we are kind of like evolving the form. Maybe there's like something. Due respect to it's weird because Zero is actually the most powerful of the group, but probably even more powerful than Rock Talk because they can make somebody go insane by looking at them, but has this kind of weird little Mike Wazowski body that is just not really the most impressive thing ever. Like, it seems like they're due for an upgrade.
Well, it's funny though that to that point, Zero does seem very mature as a character, right? As an individual, I suppose. Yet the rest of them are pretty much, post-adolescent children, right? Like I would put who's the main character, Dahl? I would put him about 17 in terms of maturity, right? In terms of human scale,
that sounds
right?
About right.
Mm-hmm. And Gwyn probably the same, but I would put Zero as a much more older person, right? And same with Jankum to a certain extent, right? And then Rock Talk she's the youngest, right? Or she's probably like the child prodigy.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? Is it just the 5?
Gwyn, Murph, Dal.
Oh, Murph. I missed Murph.
Apparently Murph speaks
Murph
whale.
Murph is like Odo. He sleeps in a bucket. We don't know much about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try and explain that bucket concept to the kids.
Yeah. Piece of cake.
All right. Any other big questions comes out of Prodigy? How are we feeling about the where we are in the series? We're coming up on the midpoint.
We are 12 episodes and or 6 episodes of podcast to go. It's right pretty much where I kind of expected it to be, in that it's my least favorite Star Trek thing I've ever seen, other than Section 31.
No, I was gonna say it's always got Section 31 to prop it up.
Oh, sorry, and Star Trek 5. Kiss my butt, Star Trek 5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what does God want with a starship?
And what do we want with somebody who writes a story about God wanting a starship?
Now, a word from our sponsor.
If you love hurricanes, daiquiris, and, well, any rum cocktail, listen up. Captain Morgan's about to shake things up like never before. We're talking Bourbon Street, New Orleans, home to legendary drinks and unforgettable moments. But what if we told you the most iconic cocktails here have one thing in common? Hint, it's not bourbon. That's right, it's rum. And Captain Morgan is bringing unforgettable fun to Bourbon Street in a way you won't want to miss. Get ready for something big as we gear up for Super Bowl 59. Make sure to keep your eyes on NOLA's most iconic street. Who knows, Bourbon Street might just need a new name. Stay tuned for clues and get ready for the most legendary adventure yet. Please drink responsibly. Captain Morgan Original Spice Rum, 35% alcohol by volume. Captain Morgan Rum Company, New York, New York.
Shopify is a global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business and sell more with less effort thanks to the Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/redcircle, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/redcircle now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/redcircle.
Now Taxes is 100% free when you file in the TurboTax app if you didn't file with us last year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just do your own taxes in the app by 2/18.
What if I have lots of forms?
All good, all 100% free.
What if I had 3 jobs?
Still 100% free.
What if I once saw Bigfoot?
That has nothing to do with taxes, so still 100% free.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Now this is Taxes. See if you qualify in the TurboTax app. Excludes TurboTax Live, must start and file in app by 2/18.
Now, back to the show.
Yeah, so what does an office need goats for?
Well, that is a good question.
And Highland people, savage Highland people running around. I mean, not that most offices don't have, their share of let's call them shepherds, or these nut bars that we keep in. Like, I guess it's the people who work on the back end systems and stuff that we just, we don't let them out. We don't let them near the customers. Well, no, not the IT department. I worked in entire technical companies where Jaime can back me up. There are like locked rooms you never let people. You don't even acknowledge that they exist, and that's where those people go. They have badges and they can come in, badge out, and they get invited to the office cake ceremonies when somebody leaves. But there's always this unkempt thing. We're talking about Severance, by the way, just who is alive, which is not what this episode's about. But there's a scene where they always go exploring these other departments, and it's one of the things about this show that's kind of interesting. Is they always go to like this. I don't know what they were doing, but they were trying to find. Oh, they were trying to find out where the goats were coming from, right?
Well, the bigger story is they're trying to find Mark's wife or Miss Casey, depending on.
Well, yeah. She's the proto star in this show.
Right.
But interesting show. I'll let you guys say stuff.
Yeah. So this. After the first 2 episodes that kind of wrapped up the story of the first season as far as the consequences, this is the first one that kind of starts the bigger overall, like everybody's back at work, the mystery is deepening, and it's weird as heck. Like, it really is weird. They go looking for Miss Casey. They decide to head to the direction of where they saw the man in the goat room in season 1. And in that one, it was weird, but it was just like a few baby goats and a guy saying they're not ready yet, which was weird. This is weirder. They go and there's like a full-size goat pasture inside of the floor, the severed floor, and the mammalians nurturable department. That's weird. Gwendolyn Christie is guest star in this one. Always happy to see Gwendolyn and anything that she wants to pop up in. Of course, famously Game of Thrones. But that whole part with Mark and Helly and the weird one, the weird goat people, was very strange. And there's a lot of weird theories online about, like, well, what do the goats mean? Like, what's the whole point of having a goat pasture inside the floor? I mean,
I do have a question. Yeah. I do have a question. What do the goats mean?
What? It wasn't obvious when they asked them if they could lift their shirts and show their bellies?
Verify if they do or do not have pouches.
Do or do not have pouches was I believe what they were looking for.
But do goats have pouches?
No, but I think the idea is that this ties into the same stuff from the first season, where it sounds like what they do as an organization, what Lumen does as an organization, is keeps all these departments separated by basically making them all sound like monsters to one another. So we see in the first season when the Christopher Walken's character comes over and they're like, "Oh, you're a monster," and we really see like this sort of animosity that they've fostered in them. I think it's the same thing when they show up there. All of the goat people in the mammalians nurturable department are like, "Oh, they're here. They're monsters. They've got different body parts than us. They're complete monsters." And of course, this is all just designed to keep them from interacting so they can actually put together the big puzzle of what the heck's going on that floor.
So what's strange about that, though, is, like, can you imagine all of these sheep herders, let's call them goat herders, go into an elevator and come out on the top floor in disheveled clothes? Like, would they not question what happened to my innie?
I mean, maybe they were hired as goat experts. Who knows, right? I suspect we'll see more of that. I would hope that they wasn't just a stunt cast of a one-time appearance by Gwendolyn Christie. I hope that.
Well, I thought perhaps this may be the new version of the Love Boat, where once a week, next week it'll be Conan O'Brien, and
Yeah, I mean, hopefully not. Hopefully this is, something that is tied to the greater overall mystery. I mean, we do get a little progress in that, at first they seem very hostile, and then it turns out that they actually do know Miss Casey, who's, actually in reality is Mark's wife on the outside world, who he thought was dead. And so... yeah, they basically say, like, they're not going to get in the way. They liked her, and they hope that, they can find anything. That's the part that's kind of weird, because it's a weird sort of side quest, but they do get a little bit of progress, but ultimately it doesn't really mean much other than deepening the mystery of, like, why goats. So I guess my question to the two of you is, well, it's Tim's question. Why are there goats on the severed floor of Lumen? The only thing that I came to was maybe this is a cloning kind of situation, and goats are easy to clone. They're trying to work on, because I was trying to think of, like, well, how could Miss Casey or Mark's wife be alive and dead? He said, "I saw her body." He said that in a recent episode. I saw her body, and so the only thing that popped into my head was, well, maybe it was a clone version, and maybe the experiment is, well, we clone sheep, and the cloned sheep evolved into we can clone people.
Yeah, that could be a possible thing, because they certainly seem to be doing or leading towards some sort of overall mind control aspect that seems to be hinted at a lot with the way that the severed technology works. And Helena's father, when he doesn't realize that he's talking to Helly, the innie Helly, he mentions something about, like, oh, eventually you'll be taking over the company kind of statement. But he says it as, like, eventually you'll be there at my revolving.
Yeah.
Which is a weird... I saw that in one of the recap things that I watched before the season started. As we were revolving. I was like, that's a weird term. You wouldn't say that as, like, a normal thing. It sounds... potentially religious, but also potentially, like, that's another tech thing that they're working on. So cloned bodies to continue living on in could be a possibility.
Yeah. So my thought was, are they trying to bring back the founder, Kier, or is Kier in every subsequent generation? Like, is the guy who's actually, like, I think his name is James. Is James Egan actually, like, the once again reincarnated version of the founder? And is the idea of a revolving that basically, like, you are the host for this thing? I mean, it's weird. Like, when you add up all these weird little sort of side things, there was that weird waffle party in last season where there was, like, the pagan imagery with, like, the goats. There was kind of vaguely satanic kind of imagery to that too. And I was like, again, is this, it seems very culty. Is there a cult element to this? Is it about, is it about possession? Is it about, like, they kind of are throwing a lot of things against the wall for us to chew on,
Yeah, definitely.
But I guess that's the fun of the show. I mean, here we are talking about it, and we're just like, I don't know, could be anything. Let's keep watching.
The other sort of question I have, that they're leading us down a path when it turns out that Irving, what he has seen is the exports room.
Yeah.
And it was something that O&D used to use for exports, presumably, but it was closed off for them. So there was a natural question of, like, why did it get closed off? Did something happen?
Yep. And then this episode ends with, like, a pretty major moment so far. One of the biggest moments of the series so far, which is Mark decides that he's going to undergo the same procedure to join his innie and his outie personalities back together, reintegration, so that he can then have all of his all of himself on both the inside and the outside. And yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big deal, because essentially the two separate characters that Adam Scott's been playing for the first, 12 episodes of this show, 11, 12 episodes of this show, are now going to be all in one very complicated character, right?
Yeah. And the if there's such a thing as a pew 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 here, the reintegration of Mark and Mark S was pretty interesting to see visually how they showed it.
I agree. Yeah, I must say, the fourth episode I had read online, so I guess they gave the first 4 episodes to television critics, and every one of them said, 4 is the banger, 4 is the one where you're gonna be the most interested. And if it's about that reintegration process, about Mark, really Mark Scout and Mark S becoming one person, that could be a really fascinating episode, especially the way these creators and actors do this show. It could be really neat to see how they try and create this amalgamated person, bringing them back together, all these complex feelings, they really have, done a wonderful job of creating distinctive personalities for the same person. The way that Mark S walks and stands is very different from the way that Mark Scout does. I think it'll be really interesting to see how they bring that all together.
There he goes. He said next episode then, right? Episode 4. That's the one to get hyped for.
Hey guys, what are you doing after this podcast?
There you go. I know that the episode just dropped. Apple does this weird thing. It is available
Friday
now,
or Thursday sometime in the evening.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, because I was like, even if I did the math, it was like, okay, if it was 3 p.m. Eastern, that would be, midnight Pacific, and it dropped at 5 o'clock here, 5 Eastern, Pacific.
Yeah.
So that's
pretty
strange.
early. Cool. Hey guys, want to talk about the Spockies?
Yeah, you got a list here.
I did finally sit down and work out the long list. We're going to call this the long list. But I remember we did this last year where we started with the long list and we just started throwing things off the side of the boat until we got down to a handful so that we could get it to a manageable amount. So I'm just going to whip through the list, and then we can circle back to the immediate tossers, because there are definitely some in here I think can go immediately. I just put them in here for our discussion. Alien Romulus, Beetlejuice, Borderlands, Deadpool and Wolverine, Dune Part 2, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, Godzilla X Kong The New Empire, Joker Folie à Dieu, Kraven the Hunter, Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Madam Web, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, The Substance, Transformers 1, Venom the Last Dance, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. That is...
I think I want to propose a second category called worst sci-fi movie.
Just the ones that get booted out of this category.
Just the same list, right?
Well, yeah. So there's a few here I think we can do away with pretty quickly. I'm going to go ahead and say I haven't seen it, but I think we can go ahead and take Borderlands off the list.
Yeah. Madam Web as well.
Madam Web could come off the list. Joker Part 2 could probably come off the list. Kraven the Hunter could probably come off the list.
Yeah,
shall I strike these through, or shall I just remove them from the list?
Remove them.
Okay. So, here we go. The merciless culling
makes my copying and pasting easier.
Yeah, the merciless culling has begun. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Sonic the Hedgehog can go too, I think.
Well, I left that in there because I know, Jaime, you enjoyed the Sonic movie, so I thought I'd give that one to you to make the decision.
I think there's arguments to be made for Sonic the Hedgehog 3, but I don't think it would make its way into a
best list.
A best list, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's going to win other awards somewhere else probably, but it's not a best picture.
All right. I'm going to say Venom could probably go also.
Yeah, along similar lines.
All right. So let's start at the top.
Well, we could get rid of Wicked too, because it's not. I mean, we include Wicked, but is it really our thing?
I mean, I think it's. I mean, it's a fantasy musical. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't feel qualified. I didn't know if we should just leave that in there for public consumption. But
I will leave it in.
All right, so that cuts our list down a little bit. We've got Alien Romulus. Mm-hmm. Did anybody feel strongly enough this to be a best movie of the year?
It was good, but I wouldn't say best.
Yeah, that would be my feeling.
Did you see it?
Beetlejuice, I thought was awful.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't think it... But also, let's keep in mind, looking at a list here. Also keep in mind, if you recall, there was the year, I believe it was like the 2020 year going into 2021, where I joked for the Academy Awards. I said, based on their criteria, Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one, has to be the Best Picture winner. Because literally nothing else came out. And then they had to relax the rules, like, okay. It doesn't have to be in theaters for too long because theaters were closed. Yeah. So along the same lines, before we get too heavy with the weed whacker here, I think I'm okay taking Beetlejuice out, but let's just make sure we end up with more than one movie at the end of the category.
Well, no, I think we should limit. I think last year we did this too. Is limit the best movie to 10. Like, let's be like the Academy here. There's 3 members in this Academy, so we all get. All right,
so that we are at 12 now. So we have to get rid of 2 more movies. I would suggest Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire was a pretty poor second effort. That would be one that I would have no issue dropping. Nor Beetlejuice. Okay. I only saw a bit of Godzilla Kong, but I'm going to say it was not an award-winning movie.
Yeah, I would take out Beetlejuice. And I haven't seen The Wild Robot, but the people who have seen it said it's good, but I don't know if it's best yet.
I'm going to watch it tomorrow on an airplane because I saw that they're playing it, and I'm like, I'm totally going to watch that.
All right, cool.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and cull Ghostbusters.
What airline are you flying?
Air Canada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You have to pay for
no, because my flight's more than 2 hours. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what the rule is? Okay.
Yeah, long enough to watch a movie.
We have 10 now, or what?
We have 11. We have one more cut to make. Could be.
Wait, how is your flight 2 hours?
That's what it takes. It takes 2 hours to fly east to west. Takes 2 hours and 6 minutes to fly from Fredericton to.
Oh, okay. And then there's an hour change.
There's an hour time change. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm leaving here at 12:15, and I'm arriving at like 1:20.
Yeah, you arrived yesterday. Yeah. Okay, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
All
right. One more movie to cut. Beetlejuice.
Oh, one more movie?
Or Godzilla, or...
Wait. How many have we got? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Oh, yeah, right. One more to go.
We have 11. Anyone feel strongly about any of these?
I would say get rid of Wicked. I'm going to go back to that one.
All right.
As the most different from the others.
So I have no opinion.
Yeah, I'm okay with Wicked being removed. That's
okay.
All right. That'll help us with some later categories also. So there we go. So there's our top 10. Best TV show. These ones I've done by season because I think it's important because a lot of them are season 1, some of them are season 2s. Again, a long list. We'll need to call quite a number out of here, but I don't think that'll be
super. Is Echo the Saldana movie?
No, Echo. These are all TV shows, and Echo is the one that was the character that spun out of the Hawkeye series on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay, right, yeah,
So, Three Body Problem Season 1, The Acolyte Season 1, Agatha All Along Season 1, Arcane Season 2, Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 1, that's the live action one, Batman: The Caped Crusader Season 1, Creature Commando Season 1, Dark Matter Season 1, Doctor Who Season 1, sort of, Dune Prophecy Season 1, Echo Season 1, Orphan Black Echo Season 1, The Penguin Season 1, Snowpiercer Season 4, Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Star Trek Lower Decks Season 5, Star Trek Prodigy Season 2, Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 3, Star Wars Skeleton Crew Season 1, Time Bandits Season 1, The Umbrella Academy Season 4, What If Season 3, What We Do in the Shadows Season 6, and X-Men 97 Season 1. You may fire when ready.
I was going to say, well, What Do We Do in the Shadows? I've never seen that, so...
I love that show, but I don't know if there's enough critical love behind, from our collective. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and say Dune Prophecy can go bye-bye because I hated that. I thought it was awful.
Horrible. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything else we feel strongly for or against?
I don't know what Arcane is. What's Arcane?
Arcane is a Netflix series that's based on a video game, but it is very much loved. I know a lot of people who really like it.
Did you listen to this podcast?
One of them does.
All right.
Orphan Black Echoes, anyone? Echo?
Yeah, I think Orphan Black Echoes is not worthy of being on here.
No. Yeah, go.
I haven't watched Snowpiercer, but I know that, again, it's up to season 4. People do enjoy it.
Yeah. What, it's a train?
Yeah, I think this is the 4th and final season, if I'm not mistaken, based on the TV commercial I've seen.
Yeah.
Would the Acolyte go then, if that's the case? Because
I mean, again, depends if you felt like there was any love for it whatsoever. I don't think it would be on my top 10 list, but
no,
right.
That's what I'm saying. If we're picking best shows, then
all right, goodbye.
That goes.
Anyone feel strongly about Avatar?
Oh, Airbender? No, I haven't seen it, so I would no.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
People can write it in if they think it's that bad. If we're completely off base here, right?
I thought the new Batman was fine, but I don't feel strongly enough to put it as a top show of the year.
Okay. Right.
And I like Creature Commandos, but again, I don't think it was like award worthy.
Well, let me see. What would be my best show here?
Well, don't spoil it. Just keep it to yourself.
No, I'm just okay. That one's good.
Gotta admit,
Time Bandits. Time Bandits can probably go too. That was and it's canceled, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
I'm going to guess that
I feel okay dropping Umbrella Academy. I didn't think the 4th season was very good.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again, same thing. What If? I thought it was fine, but I don't think it was worth an award.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I feel okay taking What We Do in the Shadows out just because I know that you guys haven't watched it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that get us down to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 3 to go.
Can we take Prodigy out?
Yes. I also feel comfortable dropping that.
No, so out of the Star Treks, I know which one. Yeah, let's take Discovery out. I know it's sacrilegious for this.
Well, we have a different category for Star Trek too, so people can vote on that.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
So we need to cut one more.
3 body problem. Do you think 3 body problem? Maybe.
I think Echo is probably the.
Yeah, I think Echo is probably the one I would take out here.
Yeah. All right, there we are. There's our top 10.
Or 10. Okay, cool. And best Star Trek
series is easy. So there's just Discovery season 5, Lower Decks season 5, and Prodigy season 2. Good luck to everything that's not Lower Decks. Best new TV show. I kept that as a category again. I think we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Wait, what's the difference in this category and the best TV show sci-fi fantasy?
It's an opportunity to recognize something that if it's a, like, for example, if you were voting for, Lower Decks season 5 as your favorite TV show, then you might choose something completely different for your
I see what you're saying. Okay. Well, by the same reckoning, let's get rid of Prophecy.
Yes. Goodbye, Dune Prophecy.
And the Acolyte.
Orphan Black.
Yeah. The bad guy in Section 31, he's the bad guy in Orphan Black.
I kind of want to leave the Acolyte there just to see if people vote for it.
All right. Okay. Time Bandits, bye-bye.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great concept, but I don't think it needed to be a TV show.
We at 11? Do we need one more?
Yes, one more to go. Echo, Avatar.
Let's say it together. 3 body problem.
You just didn't like it that much?
I love the 3 body problem as a book and concept and stuff, but I don't know. It didn't stand out as a great show.
Come on, they sliced a boat in half. They sliced a boat and its contents of people into little pieces.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I don't remember that in the book, to be honest with you.
I'll
have to go back. I don't know if I want to go back.
I think Echo is the one to go.
Yeah, I think Echo's a better one to remove first.
Yeah. All right, there's our top 10.
And now I think we're at 10, right? Yeah, so it slides in.
All right.
The best actor, the actor ones, we should get down to 5.
Okay. So again, this is a combination of television and movies because we did this in the past and we often don't have enough for one or the other. So So Timothée Chalamet for Dune, Joel Edgerton for Dark Matter, Colin Farrell for The Penguin, Renzi Feliz, he's the guy who played his protege in The Penguin, Chris Hemsworth for Furiosa, Manny Jacinto for The Acolyte, Hugh Jackman for Deadpool and Wolverine, and Joe Locke for Agatha All Along. So we need to drop, what do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got to drop 3.
I'd say we drop Renzi, because compared to Colin Farrell, he's like no chance.
Yeah, that's fine.
2 left.
Hey Siri, stop. Hey Siri, stop. Hey Siri, stop. What the hell was that?
She crazy.
And what did we just cut?
We just cut
Renzi.
Oh, Renzi,
yeah,
right.
Renzi.
I don't know how she got the S word out of that. Or what she was thinking she was playing. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm going to propose Joe Locke as the next cut.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Looking at this list.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then we need to cut one more.
One more?
Let's say it's somewhere for me between Hemsworth and Jackman.
I liked Hemsworth. I thought he was pretty good.
I thought he was pretty good as the villain. I liked that he was playing against type.
Manny Jacinto, I think, can go.
I don't know. I liked his performance in The Acolyte a lot.
All right. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I'm
like he actually was probably the only redeeming quality of that show was that he was great.
I mean, it doesn't have to be 5. We can. What is this? This is 6 right now.
Yeah.
So,
how about Jackman? Do we feel like there was anything special there? I mean, again, the problem is that if you rate this against like the Logan movie, like, come on.
You didn't find Hemsworth hilarious and Furiosa?
I did. I thought he was terrific. That's why I put him in here. But
okay.
I'm saying, I think Hugh Jackman is probably the one that I would cut if I was going to cut one more.
All right, let's cut him. Bye-bye.
Go for it. Goodbye, Hugh. All right, Best Actress. Jennifer Connelly for Dark Matter, Emma Corrin for Deadpool and Wolverine, Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. We can take her right out now because we're not doing Wicked. Rebecca Ferguson for Dune, Catherine Hahn for Agatha All Along, Kristen Milioti for The Penguin, Demi Moore for The Substance, Anya Taylor-Joy for Furiosa, and Zendaya for Dune. We should probably cut one of the Dunes.
Who's the Emma Corrin?
Emma Corrin was the one who played she played the bald villain. She was the bad guy.
Oh, she's the
I thought she was pretty good. Sorry, I should say.
Yeah,
I think they are they. So they.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But yeah, I would say Ferguson and Zendaya probably are splitting the difference. So we probably should pick one or the other.
Zendaya.
Zendaya, we should keep or lose.
Lose.
So 2 more to go.
Looking at here,
we could also lose Rebecca Ferguson too, if we don't feel strongly about that. I'm just saying.
Yeah. What about Jennifer Connelly though?
Yeah, I was thinking Jennifer Connelly as well.
Yep. Okay.
Because we're talking about performance, not amazing looking.
1 more to go. Emma Corrin, Rebecca Ferguson, Catherine Hahn, Kristen Milioti, Demi Moore, and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Well, I haven't seen Substance yet. I plan on seeing it, but don't know when.
I feel like it's for me between Rebecca Ferguson and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, I think Rebecca Ferguson is better off elsewhere. Like you might want her for Silo or something, but I don't know.
She wasn't as good in season 2. She didn't have enough to do.
Fair, but I don't know that I really think a lot about her for Dune, where I would think of Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya a lot more.
Yeah.
All
right. There's our 5. Most anticipated movie of 2025. 28 years later, Avatar 3, Fire and Ash, Captain America Brave New World, Fantastic Four First Steps, How to Train Your Dragon, Jurassic World Rebirth, Mickey 17, a Minecraft movie, The Running Man, remake, Superman, Thunderbolts, and Tron Ares.
So, I would be okay leaving these, but I would say How to Train Your Dragon.
This is only 12, so we could cut a couple. How to Train Your Dragon is a live action adaptation.
I know it's a remake of the great cartoon movie, but I haven't seen the rest of them. I didn't see anything beyond.
Is there
a Minecraft movie? I could care less.
Is there a number we want to get down to?
I don't know. This is 12. Do we want to get to 10?
I guess, but I mean.
I'm going to propose.
It's hard to say what people are anticipating it, but I'm not anticipating the Minecraft movie at all.
Yeah.
So, or the Tron one either. I don't know, but Tron.
Oh, I don't know. I thought the last Tron movie was interesting.
The Running Man can go too. That was a lame movie. It doesn't have Richard Dawson in it, so. It's a remake of the Richard Dawson.
Yes, it is. Arnold
Schwarzenegger movie, right?
Sure.
That of its time was what TV was like. So,
all right. Well, I'm going to propose a Minecraft movie could go. How many feel okay with that?
Yeah, I think Minecraft can go.
And then one more. We want to do Running Man, or we can get rid of Jurassic World.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sure.
Bye.
Okay. There's our 10.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out. All right.
Most anticipated TV show: Alien Earth, Andor, Daredevil Born Again, Devil May Cry, Eyes of Wakanda, Invincible, Ironheart, Lanterns, that's the Green Lantern series on HBO, Marvel Zombies, The Sandman, Stranger Things, Wonder Man and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. That one's kind of weird because we're already halfway through the season, so maybe we could just take that one out. It's a shame because it's good.
I think there's a really deep pit that the Lantern movie will have to climb out of to become anticipated. Yes,
well, I mean, they're doing something different. They're basically doing space cops, right? Like that's how they're approaching it.
Isn't that what they did in Space? The cartoon animated spun off of Rick and Morty.
Oh yeah.
Solar Opposites.
Yes,
Solar Opposites. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Sandman season 2 because, as we discussed, EU.
Yeah. No idea what. I thought you were going to take. You're talking Spider-Man out or not?
Yeah, there's 12. Should we take Spider-Man out because it's already kind of
Well, you just said it was halfway through.
It's in this sort of nebulous zone because it can't be anticipated because we're already halfway through. So yeah, why don't we just get rid of that one? So one more to go.
I don't know what's Wonder Man.
That's the last Marvel TV show of the year. It's supposed to come out in like November, December, and it's about a character.
The one guy that grew up on the island with all the women. What?
No, it's about a character who's a stuntman who suddenly finds himself with powers and suddenly becomes a leading man. It's a pretty good comic concept, and it'll be interesting to see how that turns into a show. I'm probably looking forward to that one more than I would say a couple of the other things on here.
Like?
I'm probably looking forward to that one more than Marvel Zombies, and I'm probably looking forward to it more than Eyes of Wakanda.
Okay. Are you looking forward to Stranger Things?
I am. All
right.
It's the end.
So I would say I agree. I concur with Wakanda and the Zombies. I don't really care about either of those two.
And I guess
personally,
I mean, I kind of like your thoughts on Devil May Cry because that's a big popular thing that's finally getting turned into a program.
If we're keeping this to 10, I think we only need to remove one, right? So I would think Zombies and Eyes of Wakanda probably.
All right,
and give the other ones a little bit of a bone because I think Eyes of Wakanda and Marvel Zombies are going to fall into the what if category of like nice but not necessarily anticipated.
Yeah. So Zombies or Wakanda? What do you feel like?
Zombies.
Why Zombies? And last but never least, best streaming service. This one we'll just leave as is, but yes, you can tell us what your favorite is. Come on, Tubi.
Should we put Crave and Hulu in the same, like with a slash, or Max and Crave with a slash because they're pretty much the same thing?
I mean, that is where we get most of our Max content. Although, as we talked about, like things like Creature Commandos,
it's not always the same.
Have gotten spun out. So,
but I mean, like if we're looking at American voters versus Canadian voters, I don't know where our
well, Disney Plus and Hulu are the same thing for us here.
Are they?
Yes. We get our Hulu content through Disney Plus here in Canada.
Right.
And then we get...
So let's ask the American. Would you vote for Hulu versus Disney, Jaime?
They're technically separate here, but Disney is pushing the bundle along with ESPN Plus so hard that I would be okay putting them together, especially because you can, in the interface, access Hulu from Disney Plus content. So I'm okay putting that together because it seems really clear they're trying to smush it together.
Well, and for ease of use, why don't we just slap Crave / Max in?
And if we're keeping Tubi in, wouldn't we add the other one, which begins with a P, and I can't remember what it's called?
Pluto, maybe is what you're thinking of.
Pluto is it? Yeah, it's the other free one.
Yeah, we can add Pluto.
It has some sci-fi in it. Is that what it's called? Pluto TV? Yep. Yeah, Pluto TV. I think it's called, right?
All right. Well.
Are those the same categories we had last year?
Same categories we had last year.
All right, okay. I still think we should have worst. Mind you, we cut the worst ones out. People can listen to the show to find out what the worst ones were of the year.
Yeah, and obviously for our listeners, if there's something you vehemently disagree with or think that we're missing out on, we are not infallible in spite of our often perfect record in our fact check. So send us a feedback on Slack or hit us up on any of these socials and let us know if you think something desperately needs to be in here. But I think what we'll do is Tim will build us a ballot and we will get this thing rolling and we'll spread it around. Please tell several friends. We'd like to get a nice cross section and let's see how this turns out.
Yeah, cool. All right, and let's move on to the watch list.
So I've got a scene from Invincible where from the first season. This is the tail end of the first episode. So I guess spoilers for that if you have not caught up at all on that. But it's with Omni-Man versus the Guardians of the Globe. But somebody has traced over this and turned it into Superman versus the Justice League. It's kind of nifty to look at. I guess pour one out for the people who are Aquaman fans. They do you dirty in this one. But just thought it was timely because you've got Invincible Season 3 coming up.
That's right. And that was my pick for the watch list. I actually started watching that earlier this evening. I watched the first episode of Season 3. They've dropped the first 3 episodes on Amazon Prime, so you can dive right into that as soon as you like. And they are, I think, another 5 episodes that are still to come over the next 5 weeks. So it'll be a short but sweet season. Love the series. Always loved it. It was one of my favorite superhero comic books of the early 2000s, and they've been pretty faithful in their adaptation of it, as far as the style, as far as the tone, as far as the characters and stuff. So I've been actually really enjoying it and kind of looking forward to seeing some of these stories brought to life. And there's some really messed up stuff ahead for Mark. This is going to continue to be one of the most brutal yet bright and interesting comic book adaptations ever put to moving pictures. So I think it'll be interesting to see what people think after this season, because there's going to be some messed up stuff.
Cool. Well, I guess that's it for another week. So, hey, Jonathan, if people want to get in touch with you, where would they find you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram or Blue Sky at JPK News, or you can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/@JPK.
All right. And Jaime, if people want to get in touch with you, where would they find you?
I'm on Instagram as @DevWithTheHair.
Well, my name is Tim Mitra, TIMMITRA, on the Blue Sky, on the Mastodon, on the Instagram. And so until next time, we'll see you in the future.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
You've been listening to the Spockcast podcast. If you want to find out more about the podcast or see the episode show notes, visit the Spockcast website at spockcast.com. If you have feedback or questions, you can get in touch with us on the website. If you like the show, please consider recommending us to a friend, writing a review on iTunes, or pledging any amount at patreon.com/Spockcast. You can find details on how to help us on our website, spockcast.com/sponsor us. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the future.
Trailer. We forgot about the Smurf trailer.
We did. I didn't see one came out. A new one. A new Smurf trailer.
Yeah, it says Paramount. I just got an email from Paramount. What? Only in theaters, July 18th.
We'll have to drop everything and get on that.
Whoa.
Yeah. Party. Yes, sir. Bob.
I'm very curious to see what is going to win some of these Spockies this year. What people are really taken to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you go. Rihanna is Smurvette.
Sure. That checks out.
Paramount Pictures looks to be the channel, and it says Smurfs official trailer 2025 movie. Looks like this dropped 14 hours ago, and then it says Rihanna, which implies that they must have other character announcements, I guess.
I don't know. Cool.
What else is going on? Our beloved sports franchises are doing battle as we speak. Kraken hosting the Leafs tonight.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
2-0 Leafs in the second.
Yeah, it's been a rough entry into the league for the Kraken.
They look so promising in that first year.
Yeah. They had an interesting period where it's like, okay, they didn't score a lot of goals, but they have no defense. Okay, we're going to lose like 7-8. Okay. Yeah. And then they kind of sort of got it half together for like half a year where they could stop some goals, and they started doing well, and then they said, no, we don't know how to stop goals. So it's been very rough.
Yeah, It's funny how those things work. Sometimes you just strike, like the Panthers did that when they entered the league. They came in and within like very short order, we're in the Stanley Cup final. And we saw that happen with Vegas. And you're like, wow, these guys have cracked the code. And then you get some teams that have entered the league that are, been 20 years and they're still struggling. And it never really seems to be a, perfect formula. But I mean, Golden Knights seem to do okay. They won a Stanley Cup already, which makes me very, very sad.
Yeah, that was the model template for what I think the league wants. Winning a Stanley Cup is not necessarily the goal, because that's unrealistic. If it happens, it happens. But having, a new team join, and the best way to bootstrap, people putting butts in seats and buying merch and all that stuff is to be good enough to get interest.
Well, it's funny because I remember, some of the rules used to be a little more restrictive. I remember when the Raptors first came into the NBA, they were forbidden from winning the draft lottery for like a certain number of years. So even if they won, they didn't get the first pick. And I think it was their second year or third year. I want to say second year in the league. They won the draft lottery in the year Allen Iverson was the first pick, and should have gotten to draft Allen Iverson, who, for non-basketball fans was an amazing player. And they were forbidden from taking that pick. So they got dropped down and ended up picking a guy named Marcus Camby, who turned out to be a decent NBA player, but like not an MVP like the other guy. And it's funny how the different leagues, some of them are trying to like protect the existing franchises a little bit by like not making the new teams too competitive too quickly. And sometimes things like the NHL are like, yeah, we don't want to make things terrible off the hop, because then we want people to buy into these places. If they made Seattle and Vegas terrible, then fans wouldn't come and they would never make their money, right? So yeah, it's catch-22.
So a big sports ball game this weekend? So
I'm told. I must admit, as a long-suffering Lions fan, I kind of held out hope that maybe this would be finally our year, and it wasn't. And now I kind of just want an asteroid to hit the stadium. So yeah, I'm hoping for a good Kendrick Lamar show and some commercials. Strangely, my son said to me that he would like to sit down and watch the game with me so that he can learn more about football. So that was a development.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's sat with me a couple times. The Lions were so good this year. They won 15 of their 17 games. I was like in heaven, because they've been awful for most of my life. And he sat down and watched a couple with me and said, I really don't think I understand this game very well, because I didn't really watch a lot of it in the first 20 years of his life. And so now he's kind of curious. So he wants to sit down and try and understand what's going on.
Sports curious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's all I've ever wanted from my children, is to have them just be just a little bit sports curious. I don't want them to become insane fans, but just enough that we could sit and watch something like this and enjoy it together and not have it be
on those cold winter nights in New Brunswick.
New Brunswick, that's right. Well, I'll be home. I'm coming home tomorrow, so I'll be in the comforts of my now apparently half-empty home.
Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking of Star Wars glasses, I picked up a box at the liquor store today. I was at the LCBO getting some beer. And I was walking out to do it, and some guy said, "Hey, can I have some of those boxes?" And I went over, and Carol and I were talking about getting you like a wine box that has compartments.
Mm-hmm.
And the one I found has very good corrugated cardboard. It's not just like the floppy paper stuff.
Yeah.
But this is actually corrugated board between them. So if you have it fits 12. I don't know how many glasses you have. You have more than that, right?
I do, but then I have 11 of the 12 original glasses, and then I have some extras that Mom has found for me over the years. So most important to me is my 11 really good ones, and we'll figure out the rest from there.
Yeah, well, this will fit 12 at least, because it's a wine box thing, right? So
perfect.
And the bottle is not like, the squares aren't that too big, so
yeah,
it'll be a good box to keep them in.
Cool. Yeah, I think the wife said that you guys were planning on coming back out this weekend at some point.
Well, one of us is, but I haven't been invited yet. But
I mean, you're always welcome as long as it's my home, which it kind of still is.
Yeah, it depends on the DOJ, right? So
yes,
DOG, sorry, not justice.
But the Department of Dogs. Yes, fair enough.
Yeah, I took her to have her shots and blood work because she's getting the operation on Wednesday.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Wow.
And I don't have to worry about dogs at the park anymore. Thank God.
Yeah. Let alone my friend here. May or may not have knocked up one of the. We don't
know yet, or there's no sign?
It's impossible to know. There's no physical symptoms of pregnancy in dogs for the first month, and yet their pregnancy only lasts for a little over 2. So the only ways you can tell in the first month is their temperament changes.
Yeah.
And sometimes some dogs will get morning sickness. Her temperament has changed and she has had morning sickness. So we're presuming that is the case, but we won't know for sure in the next week or so, depending on, obviously, because they were kind of at it for a week. It depends on when this may have happened. But the next sign would be that she will start to visibly, her nipples will grow and all that kind of stuff. So we'll probably know in a short order. But
are you going over to Pat's quite often, or?
I have been. This week I haven't because the weather's been kind of garbage. So I have been mostly here. Last time I was there was on Sunday, but usually I'm there, 2 or 3 days a week. Just go over and bring Melvin for a run, or I'll go over and they've invited me over for dinner a few times and stuff like that. I didn't really need to go down this week because Pat's been down here at Adam's place working on some of the renovations and fixing stuff up. So she brings the girls out. So more often than not, I'm working, and then I'll just go out at lunchtime and run the dogs, and then Luna and Micah.
Okay, yeah. Well, there are other girls in their environment these days, but
yes, Luna and Micah are coming for visits. They came for visits 3 out of 4 days this week. So again, didn't really need to go down there, and it was a busy week with people working and stuff. So I didn't get down. I was going to go down tonight, but then it snowed yet again, another 5 centimeters of snow. So I'm going to drop Mel there in the morning, and then Pat's going to drive me to the airport, and he's going to stay with the girls for
for
9 days.
Leave your car there.
Yeah. Although Pat's going to be back up here doing work, so I think all 3 dogs and her are going to be here a fair bit too. But yeah,
cool.
It's good. Melvin sleeps very well when he's played.
Yeah, well, that's the same. That's a trick with Sorsha too. I take her to the park every day for a run with the other idiot dogs. So
yeah. Well, and here, I took them out at lunchtime. It was a little unpleasant, but I took them out at lunchtime, and we were out for a good 30, 35 minutes, and they ran and ran and ran and ran, and so cool. Good.
All right, can we wrap it up?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, wrap it up.
I will probably see you sooner than later, and Jaime, I will talk to you next week.
Yeah, looking at my calendar, it looks like I am unavailable next week. I do have a thing going on, so I will have to skip the 13th, unfortunately.
Okay.
Ready?
Alrighty.
All right,
guys.
Take care, guys.
Where's the off button? Where's that off button?
All right.
Make it stop.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
If you love hurricanes, daiquiris, and, well, any rum cocktail, listen up. Captain Morgan's about to shake things up like never before. We're talking Bourbon Street, New Orleans, home to legendary drinks and unforgettable moments. But what if we told you the most iconic cocktails here have one thing in common? Hint, it's not bourbon. That's right, it's rum. And Captain Morgan is bringing unforgettable fun to Bourbon Street in a way you won't want to miss. Get ready for something big as we gear up for Super Bowl 59. Make sure to keep your eyes on NOLA's most iconic street. Who knows, Bourbon Street might just need a new name. Stay tuned for clues and get ready for the most legendary adventure yet. Please drink responsibly. Captain Morgan Original Spice Rum, 35% alcohol by volume. Captain Morgan Rum Company, New York, New York.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years, and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.